What's up, guys? Toasty Bros here.
How's it going? Alright, so I'm going to be explaining this new really cool series we're going to be doing. So basically, we're going to be going through and actually picking parts off of Newegg. So I will be doing AMD side, and then Matt will be doing Intel, and we're going to be choosing basically certain price ranges. So in this case, we're doing $300. So basically, we just had to see with AMD, what can we do for $300 in the build, and then for Intel, what can we do with $300. So now we're going to go ahead and continue on and show you what we got. Alright, so for my CPU, I chose the AMD A10 7850K. So the reason I went with an APU is because those are actually a really cool new thing coming, and basically you get 12 complete cores, which is really cool because you're actually combining your GPU and CPU together and not having to buy them separate. And if you look up reviews of these, even running alone without separate graphics cards, they actually run really nice, and this is the top of the line APU you can get. So that's the reason why I went with that one, and with the RAM I got, this should also work really good. So now let's go to Matt and see what he got for Intel.
Okay, so for my CPU, I got the Intel Celeron G1610. It's an Ivy Bridge dual-core processor at 2.6 gigahertz, and this processor is a pretty basic Intel processor. It does the job. It's a dual-core. It has on-board, I believe, but honestly, in this build, I have a GPU to go with it, so it will work out in the end. It will do the job. It'll be okay for gaming. It will do basically the job a processor needs to do, and it's 48 bucks. So I mean, it's the best thing I could do for this price range. Actually, I'm gonna go explain my GPU because I have a separate GPU compared to him having an APU. So my GPU is actually the GPU that's used in the first mineral oil PC build, the Sapphire Radeon 5450, I believe. I think that's what it's called. But this GPU, I mean, it will do what it needs to do. It's not going to do like Battlefield gaming or whatever. You could probably do some light Minecraft or whatever, some light gaming. It's good enough for this build. Yet again, I was constrained with the price of trying to fit an Intel build. The price performance for Intel is just really not that good, and it's kind of hard to fit something in that well. But it's the best I could find that could actually play video games. And I'll go ahead and do my motherboard too. I got the BioStar motherboard. It's the LGA 1155 socket, so it can fit the CPU. It's $50. Supports DDR3 RAM. It has USB 3. A bunch of random features that really don't matter, honestly. But it's a good motherboard. It looks pretty solid, and for $50, it fits well into the budget.
Alright, so now let's go to my motherboard. So I chose a Micro ATX MSI 858M-E33. So that didn't really matter too much, but just know that it is FM2 plus socket type and is Micro ATX. So the main things you got to know is the motherboard is a $47 motherboard. It can take up to 32 gigs of RAM. It can take multiple speeds, which is good for this because we're going to be choosing higher speed RAM. And then it also has a lot of extra onboard stuff on it. Let's go into the RAM now. So for my APU, I actually chose HyperX Fury Black Series. I chose 4 gigs of that, and it's actually the 1866 megahertz. So the reason I chose that is because it's only $40, and that's actually a really good speed for an APU. So that should, run really good with the APU, especially if you're just running one monitor, at about 1080 or 720. The 1866 speed should work out really great with that. And now we'll go to Matt.
Okay, so for my RAM, I did some G.Skill Ripjaws X Series, 4 gigabytes. It was $37, and it's at 1600 megahertz speed. RAM speed really doesn't matter that much with this build because I'm not really running onboard graphics like Jackson's with his APU, but it's a basic 4 gig stick. I probably could have went a little cheaper maybe, but $37, and it's really reliable RAM. It's basically what I decided to go with, and it really didn't matter that much in the end when I compiled all the prices.
Yeah,
so.
doesn't it? Is that the one that has the cool heat sink on it, where it's like the
Yes,
little fins?
it has the fins on it, so
Yeah,
there's something.
that's all that matters. The
That's all that
fins.
matters. It's fins. That's something cool to this build.
Yep. All right, so now let's go to the case. So, by the way, this is another thing I kind of combined in one. Matt might have a separate power supply. I don't know. Do you?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And by the way, we don't actually tell each other what the builds are because it's kind of like a surprise type thing, and then in the end, we'll tell each other like what we think and all that. So, but yeah. Anyway, so for my case and power supply, I went with the Cooler Master Elite 342 case. So, this is a Micro ATX mini tower computer case. and it actually comes with a 400-watt power supply. And it has a good amount of expansions in it. Like, you can put a lot of like hard drives, and it has really good ventilation, and it's also a really good brand too. It's Cooler Master, so it's actually a really nice name brand, and it's only $60 with the power supply. So I figured that was a pretty good price, and a really nice sleek looking case for this build.
All right, so for my case, I went with the NZXT Source 210. It's actually just a pretty basic aluminum brush plastic build case. You see aluminum brush plastic, that's just pretty, you know. But anyways, it's a black case. It looks pretty basic, but it does the job. And for $40, oh wait, there's a white option too. But
Ooh.
for $40, it seems like the good price to go with. Um, Let's see. And the power supply, I went with a 400-watt Roswell power supply. I'm going kind of reckless and not getting a 80 plus bronze certified efficiency power supply. But at this price range for $36, 400 watts, does everything it needs to do for this build. This build is definitely not power hungry, and I wouldn't really recommend trying to upgrade to something that is power hungry with this build. If
Yeah.
it's really just not worth it. This is more of just a hey, I can build this PC real fast and it'll work, and I can do some light stuff. I don't really recommend upgrading it, but yeah, overall that's my build.
Let's just start off by talking about what we think about each other's builds. So I'll go ahead and start off with Matt since I've been doing my part first. So with Matt's build, I actually do think, obviously, like we said, for $300 with Intel, you really, Intel's definitely, it's better once you get into higher price ranges, but AMD definitely, at least in my opinion, takes the stage for being able to spend less but get more overall power. Um, but that's why, with Matt's, like you said, it's a dual core Intel, and I did have that the graphics card with it before, and I was actually running an AMD dual core, which I would assume that the Intel dual core is probably a little bit better than the dual core AMD processor I used to have. So, and like you said, I was actually running with that same graphics card, and I remember being able to play Minecraft actually pretty decent. So. Um, it can do light gaming for sure. I remember also playing games like TF2 and some other games like that. So it can definitely run your light games, and then it obviously does have the Intel reliability.
Yeah, I honestly think his build, um, it was a really good value, and honestly, the AMD platform is good for this price range. Intel is really difficult to do until you get to like maybe 600 plus dollars or like the really high end systems. Like you'll see a trend for a while if we just keep going up in price range to like 300 to 500. You really won't see Intel shine until about maybe 900 to $1,000 price range, because that's where you can actually like think about doing Intel instead of AMD.
Yeah.
But this build, it's gonna do good. His build is actually a better option. I've seen the APUs in action; they do really good. And if you wanted to, you could get another GPU on the side eventually, and do almost like a crossfire type thing. I haven't really researched that much, but that's an option. And
Hmm.
it's honestly a good build for that price range. Even though honestly, I think we could both agree if you're doing a gaming PC, I would honestly save up more money than $300 and go a little bit higher maybe. Or if you are and you just have to get a PC, do his option, because you can do some upgrading with the GPU added in the future. But like other than that, I would really recommend saving up more before you try to build a PC for gaming, and because this price range really isn't that good for that.
Yeah. But yeah, overall though, like if you do only have $300, like you said, it would be because remember this is the best AP you can get, and if you look up, reviews of this processor, it's almost always associated with gaming, just because that's what they want these APUs to turn into. Is they want them to be kind of like the future of being able to game, but with for a lot cheaper price, which definitely, you know, in my opinion, I think especially with the 1866 RAM you're going to be going with, along with that APU, that should make a really good, duo. And so that, at least in my opinion, I think that would run some pretty decent gaming.
This is a good idea. We'll basically be giving you a bunch of different price ranges in the future, and honestly, we want a price range that you all want specifically. So if we upload this and you'll have a certain price that you want us to do, please comment away and tell us what it is. We're willing to try different things, and we really just want to make this a good series.
Yeah, so and like we said, this is our first the first one we've tried, so we obviously will find, flaws in it, which we already know that there are, and we'll try to come up with like, more standardized, since if we want this to be series, we kind of want it to be like I can go from $300 to $400 and I'll see the same type of video. We don't want it to be like totally different each time. So we'll try to make changes to it and make it better. And yeah, hopefully we can go. I'm thinking like $100 increments, and kind of see where we go from there in just different price ranges. It can definitely be a really cool concept. So yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we will
Have a
see you
good
guys
day,
later.
guys.